Hello friends, and welcome to a new series called Top 6. In today's video, we'll be talking about the top 6 real scary paranormal stories. Coming in at number 6, we got The Bell Witch. The films An American Haunting and the famous Blair Witch Project are both based on this story. In the 1800s, John Bell moved his family to an area called Red River, now known as Adams, Tennessee. Soon after, they started experiencing bizarre noises, dogs barking, chains rattling, rats chewing, and the woman who would frequently whisper would soon be named the Bell Witch. People believe she is a former neighbor of the Bells. Kate Batts was her name. They had a dispute on the land, and soon she had sworn vengeance on the Bell family. Later it was found that Mr. Bell had died from poisoning. Many people believe that was the Bell Witch finally getting her vengeance. Creepy. Now number 5, we got the Surrey House Ghost. In the 1870s, family members reported seeing objects being thrown around, as well as hearing laughter, crying, but also they would see demonic red eyes staring into the house. They would witness food being thrown from their plates, knives and forks being twisted into weird shapes. The townspeople thought the occurrences were cries for help from the spirits who thought the family would be able to save them. The family finally decided to move. A fire iron floated up and started hitting the son on the head. No one wanted to enter the house again. Yeah, who would? The house was mysteriously set on fire in 1925. But who knows what stayed behind. Now coming in at number 4, we got the Villisca X Murder House. On June 10th, 1912, a couple named Josiah and Sarah Moore were killed inside their home in Villisca, Iowa. Not just them, but their 4 children and 2 friends who were staying the night were also brutally murdered. To this day, no one knows who could have done it. Their home is considered one of the most haunted houses in the country. People who are brave enough and have the big cojones can stay the night for $400. Yeah, no thanks. People spending the night have had to leave due to paranormal events they experienced. They experienced kids' voices, falling lamps, moving ladders, and flying objects. You know, your typical paranormal stuff. But in 2014, a paranormal investigator stabbed himself after spending the night. Skeptics that have stayed the night have left believers. If you have stayed the night there, in the comments, let me know. I'll give you a hug. Now coming in at number 3, we got Villa de Vecchi, Italy. Located near Lake Como, known as the House of Witches, which dates back to 1854 to 1857. The structure was built as a summer home for Felix de Vecchi. The family was only able to enjoy a few years before tragic events occurred. The architect died a year after construction. Then in 1862, Mr. Vecchi came home to discover his wife murdered and his daughter missing. A year passed before Mr. Vecchi could not take it anymore, so he committed suicide. Sometime later, his brother moved into the house, where he lived there until World War II. The home has been vacant since the 1960s. But In 2002, an avalanche wiped out all of the surrounding houses except for, you guessed it, spooky. Coming in at number 2, we got the famous Conjuring house. We've all seen The Conjuring, but the real story behind it is much scarier. In January 1971, the Perron family moved into a 14-room farmhouse in Harrisville, Rhode Island. Soon after, the family started noticing strange things going on. Caroline would notice a broom going missing, or it would move from place to place. She would find small piles of dirt in the middle of a recently cleaned kitchen. The girl started noticing spirits moving around the house. Caroline researched the home and found out that some kids were drowned in the nearby creek, and a few had hanged themselves in the attic. But the worst spirit was a spirit named Bathsheba Sherman, a woman who had lived in the house before the parents in the 1800s. Ed and Lorraine Warren conducted a seance one time to attempt to contact the spirits that were possessing the family. Caroline became possessed and started speaking in tongues and raised from the ground in her chair. The family continued to live in the house until 1980, where they could finally afford to leave. Since then, the spirits were silenced and the hauntings stopped. Intermission, everyone. Before we get to number 1, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell. Please, I have children to feed. Coming in at number 1, we got the Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. I think that's how you say it. The asylum was designed to house 250 patients when it opened in 1864. But in the 1950s, its capacity peaked, reaching 2,400, with people living in inhumane conditions, with some even kept in cages. The asylum finally closed in 1994. There are reports of shadow figures lingering the halls, whispers and bangs everywhere. People who are brave enough can take a tour and experience the horror, but beware. People have reported being scratched, seeing shadow figures. People have also reported that even when they got home, weird occurrences would happen. So if you do decide to go, be advised, you might take home a demon. Alright guys, that was top 6 scary real paranormal stories and vans. If y'all liked the video, make sure to like, subscribe, and do all that stuff that YouTubers tell you to do. Till next time, goodbye.